Hello. Can somebody respond?
Yes, you're audible now.
Okay, so good. So
Hi.
some technology issues. So my voice clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I find six people: Sarita, Maruti, Supriya, and Ramana, Ganta, and some admin person from B.R. Ambedkar. Good evening. I see, as
Evening,
we have
sir.
very few people, please let us keep this very interactive. I know it must be tough for you people. You must be working, and so let us keep it very interactive. And you can anytime you can ask me a question. I'll try to respond. So we have 1 hour, and we'll try to discuss everything in a very interactive method. I know, because I would have preferred 6 to 7, but now it is 8 to 9, almost your dinner times. So, but I'll try to keep it with a lot of interesting slides, interesting examples, so that you will find it interesting. So, my name is Dr. M. Anil Ramesh. I'm a Dean Accreditations and HOD Marketing in a business school called ICBM School of Business Excellence. I have overall 37 years of experience. That includes, I started working in 1987, and then I have 10 years of industrial experience. I worked in companies like HCL, then in a company called RES. Then I was a marketing manager for a company called Oman Solar Systems in Muscat. Then I returned from Muscat and joined an advertising agency, and I worked in an advertising agency for 4 years. And then in 97, I joined CBIT, Chaitanya Bharati Institute of Technology, as assistant professor. I worked there for 5 years. And from there in 2002, I went to Africa. I was in Ethiopia for 4 years. So I have adequate international teaching experience, which will be very useful for a subject like international business. Then in 2006, I came back to India. I finished my PhD. My PhD topic is subject is consumer behavior, and topic is on satisfaction. So from 2008 to 2020, I was director academic at Shiva Shivan Institute of Management. So I left Shiva Shivan Institute of Management in 2020, and right now I'm with the ICBM School of Business Excellence. I'm a Dean Accreditations and a HOD Marketing, and I have 37 years of experience. It's very nice to see more and more people joining in. So I will try to keep it at a very interactive level. At any point of time, if any one of you has any query or anything, I suggest that you could do a chat or directly unmute yourself, and you could also have a direct interaction.
Sir, one request, sir. Please give me important questions, sir, because of nearby our third semester, no, sir. Is
Important questions.
questions for third semester, yes, sir.
You want important questions?
Yes, sir.
I'll give it. I will give it on the
Thank you,
last day. No, you see, it's not very polite to ask teacher on the first day itself.
Oh, sorry, sir.
No problem, no problem. I'll try to give it on the last day. So I will see. I can see if you simply follow the lectures, and I'll also share my PPTs.
Thank
I
you,
think
sir.
most of it will be quite simple. Okay, so it's a it's a subject that's quite easy to understand, and it's actually a combination of many other subjects. It's not a subject in itself. It is a combination of a lot of other subjects like marketing, finance, HR. So when you're doing business in one country, we call it business. When you're doing it across different countries, we will call it international business. Anyhow, like I'll come to that. So I'm trying to share my screen now. So
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you.
are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let me go for a slideshow. So you're able to see my total screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the topic for discussion today, we'll be doing mostly about introduction, the terminology, what does it mean, how is it important, and things like that. So the topic is international business and emerging global scenario. One thing you should all remember is whether we call it international business or global business, it is the same. It is in our time when we were doing MBA, it was fashionable to call it international business, but now more people are calling it global. So global has become the buzzword. So that's my um, designations, and that is my school. We are in Upparpalli, Hyderabad, very near Medipatnam. So just one, because I know it's all at your uh, dinner time. When dollar depreciates in value against the rupee, who becomes happy? So, and depreciate means the dollar losing value, and appreciate means dollar gaining value. So if in a class, we could have done it on a blackboard. So I'm putting the next screen because this might be a little confusing. So now I'm saying, what do I mean by dollar depreciating? So when dollar depreciates in value against the rupee, who becomes happy? That means, let us take till yesterday, we could buy a dollar at 80 rupees. Now it has become 85, which means the rupee has depreciated. So any guess who would be happy?
Importers.
Then
Importers will be happy.
importers would be happy. Okay. So and what about when dollar appreciates? Obviously exporters, right?
Right.
Good. So very nice answer. Why would the importers be happy when the rupee depreciates? Correct answer. In fact, okay. So that's what.
They have to pay less for the same product.
Pardon?
They have to pay less in rupees.
Correct. So I'll take off my. Okay. So importers become happy as they can buy more dollars at the less price. Okay. So importers, but when the dollar depreciate, this means when, let us take instead of 80 to 85, exporters become happy. So what we are trying to say here is, whenever we are, I'll just skip this slide and go to the next one. So whenever we are talking about business, business is no longer happening in one country. It is happening in many countries. And we have this concept called transnational and multinational also. So transnational means companies which operate in, so most of the Indian companies will treat them as transnational, as most of the American companies will call them multinational. So that's the basic difference. Now let's go for the next slide. I'll of course share all this. So let us look at some of the big multinational companies of the world. If you see Walmart retail, this figure that you're seeing on the top is the billions of dollars. So each company is able to sell in 1 year. So which means Walmart is doing 482 billion US dollars. State Grid, China Petroleum, Sinopec, Royal Dutch, ExxonMobil, Volkswagen, Toyota Motors, Apple, and BP. Can anybody guess why I put these countries on the right? Any idea? What are these countries got to do with multinational companies? Any idea? Anybody? What do the countries got to do with multinational companies? If you look, I've written Walmart on one side and Poland on the other side. State Grid on one side, Egypt on one side. China National Petroleum on one side and Denmark on one side. Any idea? Anybody can say what I'm trying to actually get across to you? Anybody? Pardon? Come again?
Rate difference, the rate is billion, is sector rated, and
Anybody else has got a idea of why I uh, countries? So actually, why I put these countries was, if you look at the turnover of Walmart, it is equal to the gross domestic product of Poland. And if you look at BP, the 10th country, the BP has got 225 billion US dollars. It is more than the gross domestic product of Greece. So what I'm trying to impress upon you is these multinational companies are really very big, and they're even bigger than some of the countries' GDP. So in the modern world, it is no longer enough to be satisfied in one country. You'll have to go to many countries, and unless because world has become a global place, and with the coming of the e-commerce and all, we would like to buy products from different countries and all, including Indian companies. Everybody wants to go global. So that's why I put this particular slide. And so I know this is slightly hazy. So let's see what are the top MNC companies which are operating in India. We have Microsoft, we have Apple, we have IBM, we have Google, and then it's slightly blurred. And then we have Tata. So the first Indian company which is very big, top multinational companies coming at 6, that is Tata's. We have Infosys, we have Aditya Birla Group, we have PepsiCo, and we also have HCL. So if you see at this 10 top multinational companies in India, 20 years ago when we were doing MBA, we would not have so many companies. But if you say 6, 7, 8, and 9, and 10, they're all homegrown companies like Tata's, which has got Jaguar, Land Rover. So nobody would have thought that an Indian company would go and take over a British company like a Land Rover or a Jaguar. We have Infosys, which is now very famous throughout the world. We have Aditya Birla Group. We have the Adani Group. We have the HCL Group. So there are a lot of homegrown multinational companies also operating from India. So you might ask me, what is the reason for any company to go global when we are having good business in our own country? So a lot of my regular students also ask this question, sir, when a company is doing so very well in India, why should we be going abroad? Because India is a big country, and is it not enough that if we can just satisfy the needs of the 135 crore Indians? So I've got a very drastic example for it. So we have Pulareddy Sweets, set up in 1948. So give or take, the turnover of Pulareddy would be something between 100 to 150 crores, and maybe around, let's say around 40, 50 outlets totally in India and abroad. So this might look to be okay. But see the next company, which is almost started at the same time as Pulareddy, and see how much it has grown. So we have McDonald's. So we have Pulareddy, which has started in 1948, whereas we have McDonald's, which started in 1940, just 8 years before Pulareddy. And see the turnover, 202 lakh 7,500 crores, and maybe around maybe 2 lakh outlets throughout the world. So whereas Pulareddy remained an Indian company, of course it has got a great product. Its sweets are very, very popular. It did not have so much of ambitions of going abroad. Out of this 2 lakh 7,500 crores that McDonald's is earning from through, this is 2023 figures, are something like maybe 70% or even 80%. So 1,60,000 crores would be coming outside the country, and only around 40,000 crores would be coming from America itself. So for McDonald's, even though it originated in USA, the entire world is a marketplace. So we have McDonald's India, we have McDonald's Pakistan, we have McDonald's China, we have McDonald's Russia. In fact, McDonald's itself is a very interesting example of the cross-cultural interaction, as how they move from one country to another. But that we'll discuss when we're discussing culture. Now let us look at this. This is called this is called as Mac Burger. Sorry. So this is how inflation is actually. So see, we usually, what we do is we take inflation as a indicator, but a lot of economists say that instead of that, you should be taking the this side, because I'm not able to see some part of it. So okay, so So we take burger as a indicator, and if you take burger as in, so what we are trying to do is, so if you take the exchange value of a rupee versus a dollar, so a rupee, a dollar would trade around 83 to a dollar, which means it shows that $1 is equal to 83 rupees, but that's actually not how it should be measured. So what they do is they will take a burger's cost in US and they will try to compare the burger's cost in India. For example, if a burger is costing, let's say, $2 in US, we will take that equivalent burger, the minimum burger in India, let's say it is costing 40 rupees. So they will divide 40 by 2 and they will say that even though on paper $1 is equal to 83, actually $1 is equal to 20 rupees. So that shows that Indian rupee is much more powerful. So which means to say that if a person who is earning 2 lakh rupees in India is equal to a person who is earning maybe let's say around 5,000 US dollars. So because 5,000 US dollars per month is actually 4 lakhs. But if you see the cost of buying things in India is much more cheaper. So that is what the slide says, that Indian rupee is actually undervalued by 40%. So this undervaluation, like we discussed in the slide before, we are keeping it so that our exporters become happy because they get more rupees for the dollar. So a lot of such issues will be there in international business. So let's look at the biggest economies of the world, because when we are talking international business, we need to look at the biggest economies. In fact, according to the latest reports, within another 6 months, so India will be the third biggest economy in the world. So if you look at this data is showing that India is at 3,942 trillion US dollars. So if you see the gap between us and Japan is only around $200 trillion. And Germany will definitely be overtaking within next 6 months to 1 year, and we will be the third biggest economy in the world. So which means we are able to do a lot of business in the country itself, and we are also able to do a lot of business outside the country. So if you look at, so even though it looks very impressive, I want you to focus on what is happening on the right, which is a per capita income. And if you look at the per capita income of our of different countries, the per capita income of United States is 85,000 US dollars per person per year. And then when you look at China, it is 30,000, Germany is 56,000, Japan is 34,000. So this was what even our ex Governor General of RBI was also saying, Rangarajan, that we might become the third biggest what is it? What country with the largest GDP, largest economy of the world. But if you look at our what is it? Per capita income, it is only at 2,730 US dollars per person per year. And if you look at this entire um, table of this top 10 economies of the world, we have United Kingdom at 51, we have France at 47, even Brazil, one of the BRIC countries, is doing at 11. So we might feel happy that we'll be the third biggest economy of the world, but the per capita income has to be pushed up, which means India is becoming richer and we are getting more and more reserves and gold, but it is not benefiting the poor people of our country, and we remain one of the biggest economies of the world, but still we have a lot of poor people. Okay, so this is how, who are the biggest importers and who are the biggest exporters. So if you look at this, the biggest exporters are China, US, Germany, Netherlands, Japan, South Korea, Italy, Belgium, France, and Hong Kong. And so if you look at our own exporting, it is even less than Hong Kong, and Hong Kong is not even as big of Hyderabad. So we are not exporting much. But if you look at the other side, we're importing a lot. So we are nowhere in the top exporters, but when it comes to importing. So if you look at China and US, both of them are robust economies. China is number 1 in exporting, number 2 in importing. US is number 2 in exporting, number 1 in importing. So even if you see 3, 4, 5, so all these companies these countries' economies are very robust: China, USA, Germany, Netherlands, and Japan. Whereas there is some lopsidedness about India, that we are not able to export more, but we're importing a lot. And you must all have guessed by now, our most imported thing is crude oil, which maybe accounts to a lot of foreign exchange flow. And this is where I think the present government did something very wonderful by opening up a rupee versus ruble trade with Russia, and that has saved a lot of foreign currency. So this shows the trade deficit. What is trade deficit is, for example, let us take India. India is exporting $100 and importing $115, let us take, from Russia. We will say India has got a negative trade balance against Russia, which means we are importing more than what we are exporting. So some countries will have a positive trade balance and some countries will have negative trade balance. So just to make things interesting, I've taken United States as one of the indicators. And if you look at trade deficit of USA, it has got almost 30% trade deficit with China. Surprisingly, it has got almost 7% trade deficit with Mexico. Japan is equal. So Germany, in fact, it is actually trade. It has got a. It still has got a trade deficit, but it is, what is it? Sort of reducing. It has got trade deficit with Vietnam, Ireland, Italy, Malaysia, Netherlands. But if you look at India, even though the trade deficit is there, the trade deficit is reduced. So this is how even we think that US is a big economy. No, definitely it's a big economy, but see how much of trade deficit they have versus China. So China has got so much of trade surplus with America, almost 347 trillion US dollars. Okay, and then these are the top economies of the world which have got a positive trade. Which, so if you see Germany, Russian Federation, Ireland, China. So just sort of statistics to help you out. And let us move on. Okay, so I said, okay, let us look at our India's trade gaps. Okay, which means if you look at this yellow, so this is what we are importing, and white shows what we are exporting. So even with a dragon country like China, we are exporting only 4.7 billion US dollars material worth, and see how much China is importing into us. So we have a huge trade deficit vis-a-vis China. So China need not have any territorial battle with us. Just by trading itself, it has opened up almost a 20 billion US dollars. What is a trade deficit there is? Even Iraq also. Iraq, we are taking a lot of crude oil, almost 12 billion worth of crude oil, but at the same time, we are only able to export 0.54. Saudi Arabia is again. So if you look at the 2, 3, see 2, 3, 4, 5, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Russia, UAE. Our total dependence on crude is what is giving us this trade balance. So we are importing a lot of material from Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Russia, and UAE. Hardly exporting anything to Russia, only 0.43 billion. Saudi at least is slightly better. And Iraq, we hardly export anything. Slightly because maybe a lot of Indians are there and we have Dubai and a lot of Indians have settled in UAE. Slightly better trade balance we have against UAE. So what I'm trying to say, tell you is, this is no longer a game that we can play in one country. We'll have to be having relations with many countries. So on the face of it, it might look like that India and China are actually at loggerheads, we are fighting. But see how much of trade we are doing with China. And definitely we are not taking any crude oil from China, but we are taking a lot of other raw material. And see how much of trade difference we have got with China. So which means to say that the Indian tiger, so we always call ourselves as the Indian tigers. We still somehow are lagging behind the Chinese dragon. Okay, and then see. Today I thought, because it's an introductory class, I'll give you a lot of examples about how things could go wrong in international business and international marketing. So I got some live examples which I will share with you. So from 2002 to 2006, I was working in a country called Ethiopia, and I was interviewed from CBIT for getting a position as a assistant professor in a university called University of Bahadar, and I was interviewed by the vice chancellor of that particular university. The interview went very well, and if you look at this, the picture that I'm showing it is a place called Danakil Depression, and the Danakil Depression is one of the hottest places in Africa. And I had read somewhere that this Danakil Depression falls in Ethiopia. Very innocently, I asked, because what I wanted to impress upon you is, unless you've worked in a foreign country, unless you have lived in a foreign country, it is very difficult to understand their customs and language and the way they do business, the way they talk. So I asked very innocently, sir, he said, definitely we'll offer you a job. You'll have to come over to a place called Bahardar and you'll have to work. And he said, we'll give you all facilities. We'll give you a house. We'll give you a refrigerator. We'll give you a cooking oven. We'll give you every facility, and you just have to pay for electricity and water. Very innocently I asked him, sir, would you provide air conditioners? That vice chancellor looked at me and said, the entire country is air conditioned. So I did not understand, and I went back to the internet, and to my surprise, I found out that Ethiopia is one of the coldest places in Africa, and this is how 70% of Ethiopia would be. The weather in Ethiopia would be like this. A place where I worked called Bahardar, the maximum temperature used to go up to 22, 23 degrees centigrade, and the minimum temperatures used to drop to -2. Our Bahardar weather used to be like Kodaikanal. So what I'm trying to say is, things are very different from what we think. So let us look at this, another example of how marketers can go wrong when they're trying to market the same product in a different country. I have an example of Colgate, and Colgate, or for that matter, any toothpaste, when it goes to another country, what is the promise that they make to the customers? You can already see in the picture. So what is the promise that they make? What is the benefit of brushing teeth with Colgate? Can anybody say? What benefit do you get when you brush your teeth? The clue is, you can see the teeth of this girl. What would be the benefit? I hope all the 14 are not having dinner and listening, but I'm sure at least somebody is there who's listening and not having. So can somebody respond? What is the benefit of brushing your teeth with Colgate?
Cleaning the tooth, sir.
Pardon?
Cleaning the tooths.
Very good, very nice. Cleaning the teeth. Anything else? Very good. Anything? Cleaning the tooth. What else? Germ protection, plague protection, mouth freshening. The indication is her teeth again. I want somebody else to give me an answer. Whoever who answered me just now, don't you think it is a whiteness of the teeth? Don't you think that a lot of people brush teeth so that their teeth will look white and sparkling? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Precise. Even this company also had, and when they went to Thailand, when they put some similar advertisement, they were not getting a sale at all, which means people knew about Colgate, but they were not willing to buy. So what happened was, then market research was done at that time, not now. In the 70s, the business people of Thailand had yellow teeth. They had yellow teeth because they were eating something like or pan or gutka or whatever, the local variations. And the businessmen were seen as idols, or they were the people that people admired. And all the business class people had yellow teeth, and yellow teeth was seen as a sign of success and prosperity. And what was Colgate promising? It was promising white teeth.
Right.
Yeah, in a country where yellow teeth was preferred, suddenly somebody coming and is showing them that you will have white teeth when you brush your teeth with Colgate did not work well. So what I'm trying to impress upon you is, you or anybody else, whether it is for an exam or when you're going for a foreign country, try to give as many examples as possible, because the moment you give examples, there is no need of writing too much theory, and the teacher will understand that you understood the concept. Now let us look at this very famous ambassador car called Nova. So this is a 2006 Ambassador Nova. At that time in 2006 or 5 or 4, at that time Ambassador was a very popular company. And if you have, let us take gone to Calcutta, even today these Ambassador cars are used as taxis. So what Hindustan Motors is the company that made this Ambassador car. They wanted to sell it in Mexico. And Mexico, as you know, the national language is Spanish and it is not English. And to the surprise of Hindustan Motors, not even one car was sold. Not even one car got sold. So again, market research came into picture, and the market researcher, the moment he looked at the name, he literally laughed and said, "Sir, when you're coming to a different country and when you're bringing in such a car, you should have asked the Spanish what is the meaning of the word Nova." Can anybody guess what is the meaning of Nova in Spanish? Any guess? One very quick guess. See, we are just trying to guess. I'm sure you might not know the correct answer. Okay, I'll give you. Nova in Spanish means no go. So when a Spanish person is looking at this advertisement, what is advertisement telling him? It is telling, I am
It won't go.
and I will not go, I will not start, I will not move. So no Spanish person wanted to buy a car which itself says I don't want to go. So you should be very careful about logos. You should be very careful about the meanings. You should be very careful about the colors. Everything is very, very important. So this is a classic example that every teacher in international business gives. And this is a Farex, what do you say? Farex baby powder or
Milk powder.
powder. Pardon?
Milk powder, sir.
Milk powder, yes. Milk powder, and I'm sure your mothers would have given this to you. It's a very famous brand. And as children, even everybody is very aware. And this Farex company, not exactly Farex company, a similar milk company wanted to sell its products in Ethiopia. So they simply imported these products from without asking any local what is a help or advice. They simply imported around 40-50,000 of this milk cans. This is again happened in the 70s and 80s, and they simply wanted to sell. The moment they put it on the market, the consumers were very, very unhappy. There were riots, and people were getting scolded, and the shops were getting shopkeepers were getting a lot of abuse. Can anybody say what is wrong in such an innocent product like a Farex? I think it was Sarita who answered me before about milk powder. Sarita, what do you think? It's very innocent product, no? What is wrong with this product? After all, it is milk powder, no?
Sir,
Yeah.
milk powder, sir.
So what is wrong? What is wrong with milk powder? Why are the consumers in Ethiopia getting so upset? Why are they coming and abusing the shopkeepers, and they're saying all wrong things, and you say, you bloody foreigners, you're trying to sell us a wrong product. So what is my question is, what is wrong with a milk product? It's a very innocent product, no? All of us as children, my son and daughter also were given Farex and some other similar. It's a very innocent product. So where do you think the communication went wrong? After all, Farex is a milk powder. Anybody can take a guess?
I think this powder had a lot of sugar in it, sir.
Okay, very nice answer. Very logical also. But what I'm saying, Sarita, they were abusing the product even without consuming it or tasting it. So they did not even buy. The moment they saw this product, they're saying nasty things and they were trying to beat up the shopkeeper and they're saying this is against our culture. We never expected that Indians would be like this. Okay, I'll give you a clue. For example, we have, let us take a biscuit package. On the top of the package, there will be biscuit, right? Inside, what will we have? On the package, we'll have a picture of a biscuit. Inside the package, what will we have? Biscuit or not?
Biscuit,
Yes, are you
sir.
getting my
Biscuit
clue?
only.
Yes. Let us take let us take some toffees or something, or let us take the cereals like cornflakes or something. So there will be picture of cornflakes outside, and there will be cornflakes inside. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So what did the Ethiopians think was inside this box? Because we are showing a picture of a baby, no?
Milk powder.
Thought that there would be a baby inside.
Not baby inside. They thought it is a meat of a baby. Because they've never seen milk powder in their entire life. So for them, whatever is shown on the top of the package is inside. So when you're showing a baby outside something, see, maybe they thought it is like chicken meat or let us take whatever, mutton or whatever. So they thought the pictorial representation on the top is what is inside. So they thought that this Indian company called Farex is not selling milk powder. It is trying to sell us the meat of a baby. So what I'm trying to impress upon you is international business is not as simple as we think. We need to take care of a lot of other things. Okay. So if you want, I'll explain. So this was a detergent company which went from India to Dubai. And if you see I'll try to make it very quick. So they had done an advertisement where they showed 3 buckets. First the red bucket, and then the yellow bucket, and then the blue bucket. So the lady would put, it was in a form of a, what is it? Billboard. Billboard is a hoarding. So in that hoarding, what they showed is they put a dirty cloth in this red bucket. Okay. And then this dirty cloth is put in this, what is it? It is put in this detergent. And once on the third frame, what they showed is when they take it out of water, it becomes కలతలలాడే తెలుపు అంటారు కదా అట్లా తెల్లగా అయిపోతుంది. So they simply showed dirty cloth. In the central frame, they showed it being put in detergent. And then on the extreme right, they showed it becoming very, very white. When they did this, the sale of the product actually went down. So my question to you is, what is wrong in this type of hoarding? We all see this in India also, no? Dirty cloth, you put it in a detergent, it becomes very white. Can anybody say what communication went wrong here? I'm told this is in Middle East. And Middle East, what is the language that they read and understand? Middle East is Dubai, Sharjah, and those type of countries.
Arabic.
Arabic, very good. So how is Arabic read? Left to right or right to left? Same like
Right to
Urdu.
Left to right.
Right to left.
Right to left. So what did they understand this advertisement as? Can somebody tell me how the Arabs have understood our advertisement as? We said dirty cloth, you put it in a detergent, it becomes white because we are reading from left to right. But Arab is reading from right to left. So what did he understand it as?
White cloth becomes dirty cloth.
Exactly, very nice. So you put a white cloth in this detergent, it will become dirty. This is absolute nonsense. So that The consumers in Middle East must have thought, why we need to use a detergent? My son or daughter will anyhow make it dirty. So simple things like this also needs to be understood when we are trying to enter into. So I wanted to give you as many examples as possible because we are on day one. Okay. So this is another example that I personally experienced it. As I told you before, in year 93, I had gone to Muscat. And on the day one, it was on a Friday. And unlike us, Friday is a holiday for all people in Muscat and in Pakistan. All Islamic countries have a holiday. Their weekly off is on Friday and not on a Sunday. So I had gone there. I had a Malayali friend and I had a another one of my colleague called Murli Shekhar from Hyderabad. So me, Murli Shekhar, and my Malayali friend, we went to a mall or a supermarket. I was wearing shorts like this. Murli Shekhar was wearing a regular pant, and this Malayali was wearing a lungi. So within 10 minutes, when we came out of the mall, we saw ROP, Royal Omani Police. They stopped us and said something in Arabic. And we are not getting head or tail because all three of us did not know one word of Arabic. The shopkeeper came out and said, your dress is inappropriate, or he said, it is obscene. So Murli Shekhar turned towards me and said, sir, you are wearing shorts. That is why they are objective. And then surprisingly, that person who spoke who spoke both Hindi and Arabic said, no, not the person wearing the shorts. It is the person who is wearing the lungi whose dress is inappropriate. Again, I want somebody to say, in any culture, if you see, it will be more inappropriate to wear shorts. So what is inappropriate about wearing lungi? Lungi covers entire feet till the ankles, no? So there's no skin shown, or lungi is a very comfortable Indian dress. So why would anybody think that it is obscene? See, when I tell you the answer, it appears to be very simple. But on that time, even we were puzzled. So because we don't have much time, I'll show you what the, okay, I did not have the Omanis wear a long flowing gown sort of a thing. And below that gown, if you see, this person is actually wearing a dress which is completely white. And below that white, what is it, this dasha, these people actually wear a lungi, our Indian lungi. So for an Omani, the lungi becomes underwear, undergarment. So the Omani Royal Police got very offended because it looked as if the Malayali was roaming around in his undergarment. So we need to be very, very careful that we know the cultural sensitivities of different people of the world. Okay, so this is a very, very posh way. Even in Hyderabad, also a lot of people say chow chow. Chow chow means bye bye. So I had a very pakka Telugu speaking Indian teacher who called his wife from almost 10,000 kilometers away. And in the end, he said chow chow. He said chow chow because he did not say chow chow. He said chow chow. So chow chow sounds like what? Chavu chavu ante Telugulo ఏంటమ్మా?
చనిపోమని.
Chanipo ani. So we had to make this Indian teacher call his wife again and say, Baba, I was only trying to say bye bye and not die die. So you should be very, very careful when you're dealing with international audience and international people, because things can become very, very different okay. So okay, I'll try to skip one or two because we are running out of time, but anyhow, so okay, so maybe we have one more only. So fine, I'll maybe try to give this slide when we are moving towards culture. So let us see what is the concept of international business. International business implies the conduct of business activities beyond the national borders. So if you take a company like, let us take Paradise Biryani, it is also international now. So then they have, let us take shops in Dubai, they have shops in United Kingdom, they have shops in USA. So a country that is only operating in India, for example, a company like Chermas, a company is like CMR. So these are all, we call them as Indian companies. Whereas the moment they become, when they try to sell their products in different countries, there is a concept of international business. So all commercial transactions may take place by government companies or private companies. So not necessarily that only private companies should be in international business. For example, if you take a company like Air India, so this is for example, if you take a company like Indigo, so even though some of them could be government controlled or government run, for example, we can take this our Indian Space Mission. So even though it's completely government owned, they take a lot of foreign satellites and launch them. So it could be government companies or it could be private companies. It could be with a motive of making profit, or it could be just to be without. So just now we're talking about exports and imports. We have sales and purchases. We have transportation. So it's exactly doing the same thing as we are doing in a home country. And so maybe you should get a distinction between a home country and host country. For example, when Paradise Biryani is selling its biryani in Paradise, we call it, it is operating in India. And because it is originated in this country, India becomes the home country. And when it is selling in UAE, UAE becomes the host country. And obviously, if there is some company, let us take some Emirates Tel or Emirates Airlines. For Emirate Airlines, Dubai will become the home country and India will become the host country. So vice versa. Okay, so what are all the things you could be doing in international trade? You can do merchandise trading, trading of goods and services, where China is very, very powerful, whereas we are into services. So we are more into software exports. We are also into outsourcing. So we are very good in service trade. So what does it actually entail? Cross-border transactions, market identifications, targeting, entry mode selection, marketing mix, outsourcing, all this will be discussing. So how do companies actually invest? How do they operate? One is something called as a foreign direct investment. For example, let us take some big company. Let us take somebody like this DMart, for example, DMart. So DMart can actually say that I am willing to give you 26% of equity for, let us take 2,600 crores. So some foreign company can come in and directly invest in DMart. Then it becomes foreign direct investment. We have portfolio investments also. Portfolio investments is they don't take equity directly. They purchase it from the share market. And obviously, they could be doing it directly also. So, which means they could directly enter into a foreign country, application of management concepts and techniques in cross-country environment. So, if you have a book, please write it as PEST, PESTEL, PEST, PEST, PESTEL. So P stands for political, E stands for economics, S stands for social, T stands for technological, E stands for environmental, and L stands for legal. So pestle analysis, just like when you are when you must have heard a concept called SWOT analysis when we are talking about management. When we are dealing with international management, international business, we call it PESTEL: political, economical, social, technological, environmental, and also legal. So we need to take care of all these environments, then only our company would be successful. So what do people actually transact between countries? So we could take resources. For example, when we are dealing with Russia, we are taking crude oil. When we are dealing with Iraq, Iran, for example, Saudi Arabia, we're only transacting resources. So Russia mines this crude oil and we simply buy it. So in return, we might be giving them cigarettes, we could be giving them technology, we can be giving so many things. Sometimes it could be transference of technology. This is where Indians are very good. So they will take some order from a foreign country, Infosys or what is it, TCS and all these big companies. They develop the technology in our country, the software technology, and this goes back, or it could be something like outsourcing services like finance, banking, insurance, and construction. So even before also I've said that global business and international business are interchangeable concepts. So whether we call it international business or we call it global business, both of them are same. So it simply means conducting business across many countries using a highly coordinated IT software. So which means wherever there is a McDonald's franchisee, when the transactions are happening, McDonald's USA can see on their computer screens how their burgers are doing in, let us take 2 lakh locations in maybe in 170 countries or 180 countries. That's the scope of magnitude that we're talking about. So what would be the reasons? Why would companies which are doing very well in one country, why would they like to go into another country? First is marketing opportunities due to life cycle. So you must have all heard of a concept called as a product life cycle, where there will be an introduction of a product, then there will be growth, then there will be maturity, then decline, and finally the product might even get disappeared. Something like our tape recorders, then we have CD players, we have ink pens. So what happens is when a product is reaching into maturity stage in one country, it might be made to come up in a let us take introductory stage in some other country. So by exporting, the product's life can be extended to many years. For example, let us take, we have a black and white TV. So nobody in India any longer want to have a black and white TV. This could be sold as a very cheap what is a television mechanism, and let us take in a very interior part of let us take Africa, where people are willing to spend only, let us take Indian rupees of 500 to 1000 to have some cheap entertainment. So if a product which does no longer has got any value in India might get a new value if you try to sell it in another country where that product's life cycle is in the introductory stage. There could be some uniqueness of the product or service. For example, a biryani, let us take. So the Hyderabadi biryani is very famed for its unique taste. So we quickly understand that this unique taste of this biryani could be exported into other countries. And now Hyderabadi biryani itself has become a brand name. And companies like Paradise and many other companies, for example, this Halim. Halim also has become very, very famous. If there is something unique, you can definitely, for example, basmati rice, it's also very unique. We'll again try to market it to another country. Then we can have profitability. There could be price differential. For example, let us take a product like an iPhone. So iPhone, let us take, sells around, let us take only $1,000 in US. So $1,000 in US is only around, when we convert it into Indian rupees, it should only cost around 83 to 84,000. But because the Apple iPhone is in huge demand in India, the same iPhone in India will cost something like 2 lakh rupees. So even taking the taxation into part, so a product that is should be sold at 1,20,000 in India gets sold at 2 lakh rupees, and Apple companies actually making a bonus of 80,000 rupees, which is equivalent to $1,000. So price differential. Sometimes what happens is a lot of countries give fiscal incentives. What is fiscal incentives? Is they'll say, well, if you come to India and if you set up your business here, you don't have to pay any tax for the next 5 years. Electricity is free, water is free. They'll give monetary incentives. There could be a cost advantage. This is how the Indian outsourcing worked out. Let us take a software engineer has to be paid in US a minimum of $5,000. So $5,000, if you convert into Indian rupees, it will be something like 4 lakh rupees. For a fresh BTech graduate in India will only work for roughly around 40,000 rupees. So if you take 40,000 rupees, it is only $500. What it means is, for one software engineer in US, you can have 10 Indian what is a IT graduates with equal or even better knowledge. So that's a cost advantage. You could achieve economies of scale. So economies of scale simply means when the cost of production increases, when the what is the production scale increases, the cost per product will start reducing. So this is what China has done, that it produces in so much of bulk that the unit cost of the product becomes very, very cheap. That is economies of scale. And spreading R&D costs. For example, if you take a medical product, the development cost could be something like $1 billion. What is $1 billion? Is 8,300 crores. If you sell it only in US, you'll not make profit. So what these companies, big companies like Johnson and Johnson or Merck or some of these big pharmaceutical companies do is they take this product and try to sell it in 100 countries so that they make better profit and better margin.